Guys, this is Satan Kamal. Have you ever wondered why your CSS is not working in your SAPUI5 project? Let me show you today. Before that, let me create the CSS file. So in my web content file, let me create new folder. It really depends on you whether you want to create CSS file inside folder or if you want to create it outside, you can create. It's really up to you. So as for my convenient, I usually create all the files like images, CSS, everything in separate folder. So I am creating CSS folder, and let me create new file, and I am going to name that as style.css. So all the CSS file will have the extension of .css. So the CSS file is created, and I have to link that style.css file in my index.html. You can link that style.css file using link tag. Link, and you will mention that as style sheet, and you will give that link href to css slash style.css. For the thing, so my index.html is outside. So in my web content folder, index.html is outside. I am linking this style.css using current file css slash style.css. Usually, current directory will be mentioned as dot, and the upper directory will mention that as dot dot. I will explain this in another tutorial. Leave that for right now. Right now we have linked our style.css, and let's run this. So we will check that it's not so there is no error right now, and we will check that inside head tag whether we can see our file. Yes, it's the code is in exists in style.css. I already created 4 controls for explaining the CSS. One is label, text, button, and special button. So you can see this here. Label, one second, I'll remove this. Label, text field, CSS button, and a special button. I am going to apply the style to first the CSS label. I have already added the style class of label CSS style. You can add this CSS style class using add style class. I think you already know this thing. So I am going to create the CSS class. All the CSS class will start with the dot and the class name. So dot label CSS style, and let me give the color as red. Our CSS is not working. Let's check whether our style is applied or not. So in label, check for class. So class is there, and in class we are having our label CSS style class. Then why it's not applied? So let's check before we go further. The class is having 2 classes. I usually know class can be multiple. So label CSS style is there, and SAPUI label is there, and SAPUI label no wrap is there. So for the SAPUI label class, the color is applied as black. So SAPUI label class will come in native CSS library. In link, you can see this SAPUI theme UI Commons, because our label will come under UI Commons library. This library.css is applied. So let's check this. Just check for SAPUI label. You can see here. So the color is not applied. Anyway, the default color will come as black. As like this, our SAPUI label class is having color black. You can refer this as like it's coming from library.css. Where is our style.css class? Let's scroll down little further. Here is our label CSS style coming from our style.css class, and it's striked in the sense it's already override by any other classes. It's maybe a native library, or it may be our own CSS file which have been written before, or if we imported before one level up in the current CSS file. This color is strike because it's not working. Let me strike this one. So now you can see our color is applied. There are 2 ways you can achieve this. Let me show you the first way. Style.css, after mentioning your properties, and if you put exclamation symbol and write important. So now just refresh and you can see our CSS label CSS style is applied because we have overwritten the default color by using the not important tag. Now you can see the color is striked out and our color is applied. Let me remove this not important, then it will go back again black. So you can see it's again gone to black. But this is considered as a really bad practice because you don't know when the style is applied and why it's not working. Not important is really considered as bad practice. So never try to use not important in your CSS file. So I am just removing this. In CSS, you can apply CSS style using three ways. One is using the tag, label or text field or button. And another one is using class like label CSS style using class. And the third one is using ID, label ID, using ID. In this, there are priorities are there. So now I have added this as 1, 2, 3 using the tag and class and ID. But the priority is label ID is the first priority. So whenever you apply CSS for a tag ID, so that will get applied and other all the things will be overwritten. And second one is label CSS style in the sense for, and second is class will be get applied, so this is the second priority, and third and last is the tag, so this will get applied in the least thing. So anything will be written for say class will be overwritten by id, anything will be written per tag also will be overwritten by ids. In normal thing, people will not apply css using id because id is mainly used for getting a used for JavaScript. So people will never use ID to style the classes and stay style. In rare cases that people will use. So we will give some points to this. Let's say ID will get 25 points and class will get 10 points and CSS means tags will get 1 point. If I am styling using label, so this will be 1 point. If I am styling using label dot and label CSS style, tag is 1 and plus our class is 10. In case if the user is labeling using hash means id tag, so that will get 1 plus 25 points equal to 26 points. So just remember this. Let's apply label dot label CSS style. So the red color will be applied to the label but still without the not important tag. So you can see here not important tag is here, not presented here, but still it applies, and you can see that SAPUI5 label, as I already mentioned, as class is having 10 points. So this is 10 points and this one tag and dot label dot CSS style. So it's having 11 points. So the higher the points will get applied to our CSS. Let's apply color to this SAPUI5 special button. So I just want to I'm going to change the color as red. So let me change this dot special button style color red, or you can say blue, so whatever. So add the style class using dot add style class, dot add style class, and style is special button style. So let's refresh this. So as you already know, the CSS is not getting applied because it's already having some specific CSS styles. So it's already having so many styles. But let's just override using button. button. But still, wait, why it's not working still? What is the color and background color applied? So you can see it here, dot background color and color. So color is white and dot background color is green. We will check this. There are three classes applied here. Dot SAPUI5 button as button or max. So totally three classes. So it's 30 points. But what is happened to our class? So it's just 11 points. So probably you know that this is the CSS style going to be overrated all the styles. So how we are going to override this style? Let me show you. So we will just add ID to our button. So button, my special button, color blue, refresh. Oh, still it's not working. Why? Oh, sorry. I forgot to save my index.view. So let's refresh again. So now you can see our CSS has been applied. So as I have already mentioned, there are so many ways to achieve your CSS style. So like I told, has my button is really, people are not suggesting to use ID for applying CSS. But in rare cases like this, for button, okay, anyway, you can achieve this. But when comes to table view or so many complex controls, in SAPFA you can apply this using ID. So that's the better way I think to apply CSS in SAPFA in case, because they are already coming up with so many classes. So like you can see there are 4 classes applied here. Tag will have 1 point and class will have 10 point and ID will have 25 point. So maybe you may get confused because here it's 40 and here it's 25. So as I mentioned, it's like ID is the highest priority thing. So even you can consider this 1,000 point. So maybe this time you won't get mess up with these things because ID will come whatever. So if class is having 10 points, ID will have more than that. So ID is the most highest priority. So you can see if it is 1,000 point, 40 is less than that. So ID CSS property is applied to our CSS, means our button. This is how your CSS style can work on that. So please be aware in case, even you can use not important tag also. So I'm just commenting this and let's, if you know why you are doing this not important, in case in future if you don't want to, you should know where you have applied when where you have to remove it. So unless, please don't use not important. So I suggest you to use this style instead of not important. So anyway guys, maybe some people never have any idea about style.css or HTML5. So I am just working on it. I will come up with some other tutorial or basic tutorial of HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So maybe for people who know some little idea about style, how to apply CSS, so for them this tutorial will be useful. So thanks guys, thanks for watching this tutorial series. So I'll come up with some other tutorial in future. So thanks.